Happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. I made it. I didn't stay out too late last night. We are also streaming live, Facebook, YouTube, and X. And as always, here at the Lindsey Beckham Show, we believe in protecting children, empowering parents, and standing for truth every single time. So today we are joined by proud sponsor of the Lindsey Beckham Show, Miss Starla Brown. She is the state director for Americans for Prosperity. If you're not involved with them, what are you waiting on?
Exactly, right? What are you waiting on?
Yes. Get involved. And Starla, you have a very special guest. I'm going to let you introduce her.
I do. So I have with me today, all the way from Topeka, Kansas.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
Yes, Elizabeth Patton. She's a regional vice president with Americans for Prosperity, and Mississippi is part of her region. And so she's spending time in the state. We were all at the Top 100 hat tip to Russ Latino for a great event last night.
Did a great job, a fabulous job.
Congratulations to all the people who were honored. It was really a great.
Well, some of them.
Yeah. All right, you have a list, but great event all around, and so really appreciate that. But anyway, Elizabeth, we'll turn over to you for a second. Just say a little bit about, maybe catch us up on some things that are going on in Kansas that you've been doing recently, because we've had some good wins out there. So
we have had some good wins. Kansas is not as lovely.
Pull that mic closer to you.
Okay,
there you go.
The weather's better here in Mississippi, so we'll take that first. No, Kansas, we just finished our legislative session as well, and it was a good one. We got a lot of great things done. Lots of important stuff, including making sure Kansas was able to opt in to ECCA through the Working Family Tax Cut, One Big Beautiful Bill. That was exciting. We did try to expand our tax credit scholarship because we do not have full universal school choice in Kansas, and we're also working on that. But we did get a few wins there. We have some huge wins on affordable housing, and we are working on a constitutional amendment in our state to try to make sure that every Kansan has a voice and can elect our Supreme Court justices. So those are the big things going on there.
Yeah. So, we're a lot of times, as the different states across the country are working on the same pieces of policy because, we have a great point of view and say, like, this will help people, right? And it doesn't matter what state they live in, that policy is going to enrich their lives. It's going to remove a barrier. It's going to make something better. And so, obviously, we've been talking a lot this year about education. We're going to continue to talk about that. We were talking about it last night at the event.
Absolutely.
I think the opposition is probably, doing a victory lap this year over House Bill 2, but unfortunately,
they better enjoy it while they can.
Yeah, exactly. But we're not going away. So that's the message I'm sending out to those who oppose. We are not going away, and we're going to continue to fight for families to have the best possible alternatives for them. And that's a myriad of things, right? We looked at everything from fixing our portability, open enrollment piece from public school to public school this year. And we, tax credits, we've opted in also here. Thank you, Governor Reese, for that piece. And we also know that we have, the Children's Promise Act here. And while we made a little progress there, we need to expand that here, because sometimes we need a combination of two tax credits sometimes to fill the
it's
the
just
gap.
every kid cannot be put into a box. Like, I have 4 little kids, right? And I know you guys have children as well, and it's like every single kid is different, so every single family situation is different. And if we just require everybody to be in one box or do things the same way, somebody's going to fail. And instead, we just need to have opportunities and options for people to choose from. And it's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be one version versus the other. It's, hey, let's give every single kid all of the tools in the toolbox. That's
exactly.
And that's what America's all about, is having those opportunities, having those options, and having the freedom to do what's best for you. Starla, you said something that I think is so important, and I say this all the time. Politics matter because policy matters, because people matter, and policy affects people, and you got to have the politics to change the policy and to get the right policy that has the right effect for the people.
That's true. And so having policy champions in those positions in office who make those decisions and take those votes, very, very critical to the outcomes. And so, that's something that we're looking at as well.
Right. Because there's already people announcing, for this next group of elections, and there are going to be some big ones in there. And everybody's got to pay attention. You've got to do your research and pay attention, because these are the people who are deciding what happens to you in your everyday life here in the state of Mississippi.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, there's things we want to bring back next year that whether it didn't make it out of committee or it made it through the House,
And
got
it
to
went
the
to the Senate to die.
Senate to die, as we reference the other side of the hall, right?
So what do you think about next year? Is there even a chance to get anything done with it being the last year? They say that year's kind of just a frou-frou year. Nothing really happens.
Yeah, because it's 2027 will be an election year, and people tend to not want to take as many risks or controversial votes or be bold for something sometimes. But I do believe that we have people in the legislature now who still feel adamant about this. I'm skeptical about like what that will be, but all of those of us who are for and in support of these things, we're already starting to talk about what does 2027 look like. We're starting a project here in our state, and we're going to be at the doorsteps of
right.
people across the state leading up to 2027, not to asking them to vote for people, but asking them about this particular issue and other issues that we support. And so one of the things that we're going to have is a tremendous amount of data. Some we already have. We've seen whether it's polling or polling at the door, but we're going to have some additional information. We're going to be talking about this with the average Mississippian out there who's maybe not in the political bubble and getting their opinions on this and seeing what they say. There has not been, to my knowledge, since 2023, any poll, any survey, anything that's been out there that's, it might have fallen to the high 60s when it comes to education savings accounts and support for that. But we've had that all the way up to 85% in some polls. So we're going to continue to collect that data and talk to people at the door.
Those are the real people out there,
that's the real people.
living their lives. Sometimes
And
my views are warped because I'm in a bubble,
Right.
and in the weeds of it all.
I think they're good views.
Yeah,
They're not so
good
warped.
views.
They're not so warped. But yeah, you're right. But look, what we've seen in areas where people tell us, and we already have data collected on this, they say, oh, no one supports it here. That's not true. Or no one's ever called me. We know that's also not true. And so the thing is we're going to continue to push for this, because the truth of the matter is most of the opposition is coming from two places: administrative people in the public school system, and the Parents Campaign and Nancy Loom,
Anti-parents campaign.
right, whose message and often her assumption of what is actually in a bill are two different things. And there's just an inherent difference between how we see a student and a family versus the money. We're not all about the money. The money is already dedicated to follow that student, but parents have options, and they need lots more options here. So it works differently in different parts of the state geographically. Some options are better suited for that area than others, but like you said, Elizabeth, that toolbox, we want to give it to everybody.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what if half the state has a hammer and half the state has a screwdriver, but it's like, actually, we need to make sure that both have access to both tools.
Exactly.
And it's as simple as that.
To work together.
Got to work together. And what Starla was talking about, that's so much of what we do at Americans for Prosperity is we go out and we have conversations. We have conversations with folks who live, work, and build their lives here in Mississippi and all over the country. And those conversations, they yield us information, but also help enable people to make their voices heard and get really important things done, especially as we move into next year.
Yeah. And that's part of, why the grassroots piece is so important. And so for those people who do support this, like, our encouragement to them is, if you want to lift your voice, you really want to see this happen, we have a way for you to do that.
Absolutely.
And so
you teach people how to do that the right way. I always joke around with Forrest Thigpen, because when I walked into Americans for Prosperity for the first time, I was guns blazing, ready to roll. Like, I'm taking these legislators out if they don't do what I want them to do, because I was so passionate about the issue with my son and what was going on there. And he said, whoa, slow down. Let's talk about how to do this effectively. And that's what you do. You teach people how to effectively change policy.
Yeah. And we're going to have we're a rural state, and it's difficult sometimes for us to get to every nook and cranny in the state, but there's a lot of little small communities out there that families would benefit from that type of thing for education. Independent contractors would benefit from things like portable benefits that we want to see passed. So one of the things we are going to experiment with this year too are some virtual abilities to do some of those trainings, those exact same trainings you're talking about, and how to more effectively impact your legislators, how to raise that voice. And then we'll have those opportunities. So if you're in a small community and you say like, hey, I want to talk to my neighbors about these issues, we have a way for you to do that. It's very simple and easy. It's downloading an app. We'll provide the door hangers, the information. We'll train you on it. And we're looking for people who want to just rise up and say, look, hey, I want to see this happen, and I'm willing to take my neighborhood. Maybe it's 4 square blocks and you want to just talk to the people there, or maybe it's an entire community of 5,000 people and you want to go out and just talk to the people out in the neighborhood. So we have a way for you to do that. And we have phone calls too as well.
And usually they feed you too. It's usually really good.
Well, we try. Look, when people are out there working a hard 8-hour day in August in heat in Mississippi, we try to at least stop, break, rehydrate, and refuel.
And there's also so many other ways to get involved. Like we do that grassroots piece and we have those conversations with people, and that is a core of our work. But the other part is, we can also help train people how to go have those conversations with their lawmakers, how to make sure to get that narrative out on social media, just all the different things. If there's something you think you might be good at or that you're not sure or you want to learn, you reach out, because we can help make your voice heard in wherever you are, wherever you're starting from, and get you to that place to be effective.
And I'm thankful for the people who volunteer on the social media platforms to influence others and to make sure that messages that aren't accurate or kind of the spin is quite different than reality,
or downright lies sometimes.
Sometimes, yes. And I'm thankful for those people who want to engage that way. And we're going to do all of those types of trainings, and they're going to be, a lot of them are going to be like in the evenings or on the weekends. And if you've got time and you want to jump on for an hour and learn some new things to help raise your voice, then we're going to be doing some of that over the remainder of this year. So
and that makes it easy for parents who have kids, and you're here, there, and everywhere to be able to jump on and not have to actually be somewhere physically.
Right. And in partnerships with people like yourself, Leah Ferretti at Mississippi Ready, and some of that, we always say, like, we love a road trip, right?
Yes, so we've been on several of those.
So speaking to organizations, getting out there, training people, small groups, sitting down, doing roundtable discussions, figure out how can you raise your voice in your community. Those are a lot of things that
and it works.
Yes,
it works. We have seen it work.
We have seen it work. Grassroots matters. And I'll say this, and I think lawmakers are aware of this, but some of them are more in tune with their community than others, just maybe because of the way whether it is small and rural and in certain cities. But these are your constituents, and we want to have conversations with them so that they understand. And I hope in turn that they'll have conversations with you, and those should be an exchange of ideas and conversations. But what we need to do is to make sure the people that we know and we've talked to that want this are making sure that they're relaying that message on the very many different avenues that we can. And we invite you to come to the Capitol any day of the week during session. Like, we will be there, and we're happy for you to come. And we're thankful for those people who showed up at select committees, advocated, talked to their legislators, and did all the things they did. We'll get there. We will. We're not giving up.
We're here for the long term.
That's absolutely. Right. And if you aren't talking to them, how are they going to ever know? You've got to get out there and let the people who represent you, who work for you, know how you feel, because if you don't, they don't know.
Right.
And they can't work on something or vote a specific way if you haven't talked to them about that and told them how much it means to you. We got to take a break, but when we get back, I want to talk about some events, Starla, that are coming up that I know you're excited about, and get into all of the other things that you're working on with Americans for Prosperity.
Sure.
Y'all stay with us. We are going to be right back here, 103.9 WYAB, The Lindsey Beckham Show. Don't go anywhere.
.103.9 WYAB. Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to fit your budget. Stop by Pops Auto Sales today, where fair prices and superior service leads to satisfied repeat buyers. Or go to popsautosales.llc.com and browse our inventory and get pre-approved for zero-down financing with approved credit, with service contracts and warranties available. And guys, our truck inventory is one of the largest for any independent dealer, period. Pops Auto Sales, Highway 49 in Florence.
Tee it up for a great cause with the Madison Lions Club. Join us on Thursday, May 21st at the beautiful Whisper Lake Golf Club for our annual golf tournament. Grab your team and enjoy a fun, competitive day on the course with prizes for first, second, and third place. Sponsorship opportunities are available to showcase your business while supporting the community. Sign up today at madisonlionsclub.square.site. That's the Madison Lions Club Golf Tournament, Thursday, May 21st at Whisper Lake.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's is a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic Southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
This is Jack Hoffman. For nearly 31 years, Tico Steakhouse has been a staple of fine dining in Jackson, Mississippi. Dad has long since desired for me to come work alongside him. And now that I'm here, I would like to invite you to come experience our family tradition of our hospitality, sizzling steaks, and healthy poured beverages. Our dining rooms are open and we are taking reservations. Our private rooms are also available along with takeout. Call today or stop in to experience Tico's in the second generation.
Tico's Steakhouse, East County Line Road in Ridgeland, 601-956-1030.
It's road trip season again. Is your vehicle ready? Take your vehicle to Green's Tire and Auto on Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland to get it in tip-top shape before you head out of town. Don't get stranded while you're away from home. Preventative maintenance is their specialty at Green's Tire and Auto. And if your check engine light is already on, then Green's Tire and Auto can tell what's wrong and get it fixed. Before you start your road trip, take your car to Green's Tire and Auto, Ridgewood Road in Ridgeland.
From Jacksontown to the radio, this is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. I am, of course, Lindsey Beckham, and we are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Dex, and as always on your FM radio dial 103.9. You can also stream the audio version of all WYAB shows at WYAB.com. You can also call in to the show if there's anything that you would like to discuss, 601-879-0002. And our text line, 601-879-4648, if there's anything that you would like to text in today. We are joined by Starla and Elizabeth with Americans for Prosperity, and we are talking about, first of all, the issues that they've been working on and how they are door knocking, finding out what everyday people really want to see happen when it comes to local and state government. Some big events that are coming up.
Yeah, we have a very big event, June 6th. So we are celebrating 250 years of freedom.
Woohoo!
Worth keeping, worth saving, worth considering these founding principles that we have.
We're only one generation away.
And we're also, right, exactly. And we're also celebrating the musical history of Mississippi. And a lot of people, I'm talking to Mississippians, but as I've been working on this with some of my colleagues in different states, they're just amazed that they understand like the musical history here. Because really, I mean, gospel, the blues, country music, because Jimmy Rogers, right?
Faith Hill, Leanne Rimes,
Right.
got a lot of them.
Yeah, Brick Gully's coming over from the eastern part of the state, over from that Meridian, Neshoba County area, and or Kemper County. Sorry, he's coming over and he's going to sing some Jimmy Rogers songs. But he is considered the father of country music, right? And so we're excited about that. And then a little Elvis will be thrown in, because what would Mississippi's music history be without Elvis?
Is Eddie Gibson coming?
Right. Well, he might be in the event. I'm not sure yet. I did call his office to invite him, but I think at the end of the day, like, what's going to be fun about this, and Bo Adams, is kind of heading up our musical guest as well. He's putting together the Backline Band. He just dropped a new single, and it's his first. It's on iTunes. You can just go to Bo Adams. There's one single out there, but he's got another one coming up. And he's an emerging person who hails from Oxford, Mississippi. Grew up some in the Florida Panhandle, and is now living in Memphis. And he's amazing. I told him the other day, your single's growing on me. So maybe we can get him to call into the show or something before the event.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we're gonna try to do is illustrate this history and talk a little bit about it, why it's important to Mississippi. It's important to our overall history, and I think music is also a very unifying thing, and we're coming together around some founding principles. We can come together around a little music and have some fun. And so it's June 6th. At Mississippi College.
I've been talking about it.
Yeah, yes, I appreciate that. And it's in the SWOR Auditorium, which is in Nelson Hall. There's going to be some parking available. We'll be posting that in the event. So, go to our Americans for Prosperity Mississippi Facebook page. There's an event there. There's a link to register,
and then sign up to volunteer while you're there.
Yes, exactly. Sign up to volunteer while you're there. And we're gonna open the doors at 5 p.m. The event starts promptly at 6. It'll be from 6 to 7:30. Real tight schedule going through there, but we're gonna have, and we have Dr. Stephen Scoltetti from the Independence Center at Ole Miss, and our Declaration of Independence Center, and he's coming. So we're excited about that, because he's going to talk. And then Senator Jeremy England is joining us.
I saw that.
Yeah. A lot of people might not know this, but if you're on his social media, you certainly do. He is very well read and a history buff, and he's well read about our former presidents, right? And if you think about this, our founding fathers, there were several who became presidents, right? And so, talking about John Adams, and who was, in my opinion, one of the very first activists out there for grassroots, right? And right. Samuel Adams, and so and all of those guys, right? Because they if without their work and without their bold kind of not nuanced, but because they're very bold, stepped out in faith and took that one small step, which is one of the campaigns we're doing this year, as you know. We would not be here today, right? We wouldn't necessarily be here as a country. Maybe we'd still be ruled by a king. Some people think we are, but that's a whole other topic.
Jeremy has a way of explaining things,
yes,
and dumbing it down for us people who aren't the history buffs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He's great. So I'm looking forward to him speaking as well, and chatted with him a little bit last night. So
and his wife is one of my
so
people.
We're excited. We're gonna have a fun time. So we're just invited. It's open to the public. You do need to register to attend, though. You need to get your ticket, because we have an actual set number of tickets. So just make sure you go there. It's on X at AFP_MS. Certainly on our Facebook page. If you need any more information, let us know. But we have ways for you to contact us even there as well. And we just want to see everybody come out and have a good evening. Let's celebrate freedom. Let's celebrate 250 years.
Who
of
doesn't
America.
want to celebrate that? You know what I mean?
I know. And I think one of the things that's going to be so important as we have these celebrations is remembering that we need to protect these principles. And some of those principles, they're freedom, right? And not an opportunity and civic duty, right? And so one of the things when we talk about grassroots is that civic duty. Thinking back over time, who are those people? We did a series last year on One Small Step of people who stepped out here in Mississippi and in an extraordinary way, whether it was, and a lot of it was around founding schools at the time, right? And so right up the road, the Pioneerwood School, for example. And so I think it's really important for people to understand that. We'll talk a little bit about civic duty that night as well, and how people can get involved. And it's a great way to come out and meet our staff, meet some of our volunteers, and find some people who care about freedom and join with
Just
us.
celebrate our country.
Yeah,
with-
exactly.
With people who love the fact that we are the greatest country ever to exist, and that we do have those freedoms and those rights, and if we don't exercise those, they're like muscles.
That's right.
If you don't exercise them, they go away.
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll talk more about it. Well, as we're leading up to it again, it's Saturday, June 6th. Doors open at 6 p.m. Mississippi College, Nelson Hall, Swore Auditorium. Check it out. Get your red ticket and come on out. It's a free event. Bring the family. It's going to be very family oriented. It'll be a fun night. So we kind of before the break, we're talking about some things we're working on. And so Elizabeth, I thought maybe you might want to talk a little bit about this. So one of the things that we've been talking to people, we had a couple small bills, but we're going to probably tweak those a little bit on the REINS Act. And
Sure.
so talking about this notion of we elect people to represent us in the state capitol, but oftentimes it's unelected bureaucrats who are creating rules and regulations that impact us at an economic level. So you want to talk a little bit more about that, but this is something that we're seeing across the country and other states are passing. We'd love to see more of it here.
It's happening in a bunch of states, even this session. But no, there's been a wildfire of regulatory reform, and a lot of it was on the heels of a big Supreme Court decision called Loper Bright. And what that did was it basically reset some federal doctrine that said, you know what? It isn't okay all the time for the bureaucrats to be the one to be setting the laws, because they are not the fourth branch of government as much as they would like to think they are. And I think this also goes back to cost of living. Like we all know, it can be tough right now, and that's for a lot of different reasons, but part of it is being driven up, and the costs are being driven up by too much government in the way red tape is expensive. And it's not only expensive to consumers, because that makes it expensive on small businesses who have to then raise their costs for the products and services they have, but it's also expensive for the state to enforce all of these regulations and all of this red tape. And so when they go out and do all these things, like government gets bigger when you have more bureaucracy. And what we've done with the REINS Act is it says that if a regulation is going to go into effect, but it's over a certain threshold of economic impact. So that includes like how it would impact tourism, how it would impact the businesses, how it impacts individual consumers, how it impacts all the stakeholders, and the cost, considering the real cost of something, and additionally the cost to the state. And if it goes over, in Kansas, we passed it that if it's over $1 million over 5 years, that it has to go through a different process and be approved by the legislature, which seems completely reasonable. The legislature, they are the ones who are responsible for and held accountable for making the laws. And so what we see REINS as is really making sure that every single person in the state, again, has a voice and can hold their government accountable for the laws that are made. Because right now, the bureaucracy makes essentially laws, regulations that are enforceable as laws, but there is no way to hold them accountable for that. And they just get to have that with literally very little transparency in some states, and basically no accountability. So we've reset the balance of power. We've given power back to the people and allowed them to have a voice here, also through their representative government, to make sure that we are not costing everybody an arm and a leg for red tape that honestly makes it harder to start a business, makes it harder to do something new in your business. All the things where we want the economy to grow. We want our states to be open for business, not one that is just hamstrung and closed because of all of the regulatory nonsense.
Yeah.
When I started getting involved in politics, I learned really quickly what it has no teeth means, because something's got to have teeth to it for us to be able to enforce it. We could pass all the laws and they might sound great on paper, but if there's no way to enforce those laws, they do us no good.
That's right. That's right. And that's where it's really important when you do REINS well, and that you give it teeth. And so there is accountability to the unelected bureaucrats, that there is transparency, there is something that can be done by lawmakers. I think so many in Kansas, when we did pass it, they were so tired of sitting in a joint committee of rules and regulations, but then being told, you can hear about this and be mad about it, but there is nothing you can do. It's done. You have no power. And I'm like, then why am I here?
Right.
And they didn't choose to cede that authority over to the bureaucracy. It happened over a long period of time, but they took it back and they said, no, my constituents and my responsibility here as a lawmaker is to do this well. And that's my job, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And so,
We're going to take another break.
Okay.
So hold that thought, Starlet.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to come to you when we
well,
get back.
I was going to say speaking and starting a business, but we'll talk about that.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to be right back here. Y'all stay with us. You do not want to miss this conversation because we are telling you how you can get involved and what to do in order to make that happen, volunteer and change things, the things that you care about in your state. You have the power to do that. We are a government of the people, by the people, for the people, and get involved. That's the only way that you're going to have a voice. So y'all stay with us. We will be right back here. 1039 WYAB. 1039 WYAB.
Keep it tuned here to 1039 WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to ring partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Ream and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The summit in China between President Trump and President Xi highlighting future potential, but no big breakthroughs on trade. Tensions remain over Taiwan and Iran. ABC's Selena Wang is in Beijing.
Big picture, if you look at what they're saying on camera, both leaders are focusing on stability between these two countries, the long history between the U.S. and China, and President Trump even lavishing praise on Xi Jinping, saying that it's an honor to be his friend, calling him a great leader, a line that's been picked up by state media here in China. But beneath all of that, there's tensions on Taiwan and Iran.
Jobless claims rose last week by 12,000 new filings compared to the prior week, more than double what employment analysts expected. The One American cruise ship passenger tested positive for hantavirus has now been cleared to leave the biocontainment unit. Health officials urging more than a dozen others in Nebraska and Georgia to remain in quarantine for the full 42 days. This is ABC News.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun Flint or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
Here's what they're saying about Corcoran Door Company.
I'm going to yell out to one of your sponsors here, Corcoran Door. When the guy came out here, instead of just trying to throw a door up, he was looking at the way the house was facing. Man, with this double garage here on the south side, you might want to consider a insulated door. I came in earlier today about 2:30. The car thermometer said 99 degrees. The thermometer inside the garage was 82.
That's why they've been around 50 years.
Yeah.
Corkanddoor.com. CORKERN door.com.
Grill lovers already know about Grills of Mississippi, and so should you. Grills of Mississippi carries premium Weber grills, Yoder smokers, and outdoor kitchen accessories to take your backyard cooking to the next level. Whether you're a weekend griller or a serious pitmaster, Grills of Mississippi has the brands, the knowledge, and the service to help you do it right. Turn your backyard into the ultimate gathering spot. Visit grillsofms.com today. Grills of Mississippi, where great cooking starts.
Men, let's talk about low testosterone. Do you suffer from any of these symptoms? Low sex drive, ED. Are you always tired, depressed? You have loss of muscle mass? You're obese? Maybe you have loss of focus and drive? Then you, my friends, may suffer from low testosterone. Let my buddies over at Men's Health in Mississippi, located right there in Madison, check your numbers today. Trust me, she'll thank you for it. I promise. Check them out online at menshealthms.com. That's menshealthms.com. Men's Health Mississippi.
Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is leveling up. A whole new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris is now open at the Reservoir at Beethoven's Boardwalk in Ridgeland, right next door to Cock of the Walk. And the new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris will have all of your old favorites too, like the Acme Dynamite Balls and Garlic Knots, and the best specialty pizzas ever, like the Pig, the Sergeant Pepperoni, the Surf and Turf, and lots more. Come to the all-new Acme Pizza and Daiquiris location on the Res in Ridgeland, next door to Cock of the Walk.
From Jacksontown to the radio, this is the Lindsey Beckham Show.
Welcome back into the Lindsey Beckham Show. We are live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. You can call into the show if there's anything you'd like to discuss, 601-879-0002. We are joined by some people from a great sponsor of the Lindsey Beckham Show, Americans for Prosperity. We have State Director Starla Brown, and then Elizabeth, is it regional director?
Vice. Yeah.
So excited that you're here in Mississippi with us. Welcome to Mississippi, where
Thank you.
it's hot.
Hey, you guys have palm trees. I'm in. This is great.
Look, at least the sun is out and you didn't come during the tornadoes.
Right.
That's a blessing.
Hey, I'm used to tornadoes. We have tornadoes all the time, so I'm used to that.
Yeah, we do too.
Yeah.
We do too.
Right.
But Starla, you were going to talk about some
So
business.
I was thinking about her saying about, barriers to new businesses. And so, of course, as we've talked a lot on the show about certificate of need, we had some incremental change, this year in some bills that helped the rural hospitals particularly. But what I wanted to illustrate to people, and I've come on this show and on this radio and even on my own show at this radio station for what, three years now?
At least,
right? Like 3 years now, really heavily engaged in this, and saw a little bit of something the first year we engaged in this, a little bit more the next year, got all the way to conference and died. And then to see some bills finally get through the chamber, and hat tip to Representative Sam Creekmore, health chairman over in the House, for his diligence and hard work this year. Really,
he was honored last night as one of the top 100.
Yeah, so he was, and well deserved. Anyway, but I appreciate that. But we're, there's still more to do there, and we hope as we continue to talk about it. But we saw more bills filed around certificate of need this year than we have in the history of the state, and we had both parties sponsored bills, and some were all the way from Senator Angela Hill having a full repeal to some people over in the House who wanted to, repeal a certain, amount of things in certain counties. So people are continuing this bipartisan support.
Starla, explain to the people, because a lot of people don't know what certificate of need or CO. You'll see it CON
right,
a lot.
Yeah, like as we say in the con.
Yeah.
But certificate of need laws, bottom lining it, basically it is a permission slip from the government for you to open or expand.
Doesn't sound like freedom to me.
A healthcare facility. And in its, in its original state, it was meant to make sure that we had thriving healthcare facilities. But what it did is drive up the cost of healthcare, prevent people from accessing healthcare. And, there was a bill that we would love to see get through. I hope it gets brought back. I'm certainly going to reach out to the bill sponsor about it. But there's even litigation. Your competitor can file a lawsuit saying they don't think you need to open your doors.
Right.
Now,
and this is after you've poured money into putting a business, getting all the
Yeah.
supplies and hoping to start a business, and then this can happen and delay you.
Right. And I don't think we see, like one pharmacy on one corner and one pharmacy on another, or a grocery store and a grocery store say like, oh, you're going to open a block down the street. Well, I'm going to sue you and say you can't open. I mean, that's not a free market principle. It's not how we work in this country. And it shouldn't be how we look at healthcare for sure.
Right.
So, what we've seen here, we have 19 categories and near 80 subcategories within that of laws that restrict clinics opening, by putting an MRI machine in a facility. There, you have to get permission. Now we had some triggers that got doubled in 3 categories, and so brick and mortar type facilities, now it's double what that cost would be to open. That they don't have to apply, right? That trigger says, okay, unless you're over this, $1 million mark or whatever, you don't have to have it. So that was also passed. So that we're chipping away at it, but it's time to just say, like, we don't need these laws.
Yeah.
Let the free market work. Let's people
It
open
works,
up. Right.
people. It works.
It does work. And
It's proven, tried and proven.
We have areas of the state, where people have to travel a great distance to get any kind of health care. And we've got these healthcare deserts now,
especially some of our veterans.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's a whole other thing with the Mission and the Access Act. But yes, absolutely it is.
So we want to see, like full repeal of some things done. I appreciate Senator Angela Hill having that full repeal bill. Of course, it didn't make it out of the healthcare committee in the Senate, which is where the roadblocks continue to be. And it's not the overall body. Like I do believe people we've seen people take the votes when it got out of committee, right? To repeal a couple. And, mental health facilities, these types of things, there's so many categories. So we just want to see that go away. Let the free market do its thing. Let's not drive up the cost of healthcare. Let's not limit access in our state. Those are two things that we talk about all the time. And here's one thing that we could do.
That could help. And healthcare is broken. We all agree that it's broken, and we all want to fix it. We all want more access to healthcare and more affordable healthcare. And you hear one side saying, let's expand Medicaid, and I just
expanding a broken, failed program is the wrong direction.
Right.
And instead, just letting there be more clinics. Heaven forbid, we have more clinics. We have more MRI machines, more technology accessible for anybody in the state. Instead of having the government get to say, no thanks, or your competitors say, no thanks, this affects my bottom line. Maybe, or maybe you'll both really succeed. You never know.
And then when you bring in the competition, you just get better healthcare.
You get better healthcare at lower costs. That story is told across the country time and again. Better healthcare, lower costs. And it doesn't cost the taxpayer a dime.
And there's data and research studies now over time in states that have eliminated this, that you can actually see that cost being driven down. There are people like putting they're mathing the math.
The math. And again, in Mississippi, we're seeing states around us do this, and we're seeing it work. So what are we waiting on?
I'd have to say we're waiting on a couple of individuals, one in leadership and one a chairman in the Senate, and otherwise we'd be passing this. And like I said, it's had bipartisan support. I think everybody recognizes this could benefit their constituents in their communities. So let's get it done. Let's keep going. I mean, I appreciate the incremental stuff that's happened. I'm so thankful for those people who, and even back to Representative Lee Yancey, who really kicked all this off and helped us. And, we just appreciate what the House has done to move this along, and the bipartisan support over there. I believe it can happen in the Senate. We just need a couple of barriers out of the way, and I think we could get it done there too.
Can you imagine that there's so much healthcare reform, again, that doesn't cost the taxpayers a dime, that increases access and lower costs, that it's just 1 to 2 people that are preventing that for the entire state?
Isn't that crazy?
It's sad.
It is.
And doesn't every single Mississippian want lower prices and want their taxes not to be raised? When we hear politicians campaign on that, I won't raise your taxes.
Right.
This will work. This will help. And it doesn't raise a single tax.
Right. Moms want to be able to call and say, I need to get a doctor's appointment for my kid, and them not be told it's going to be 3 weeks or 3 months.
Right. Especially when some of these specialty doctors, if you have an issue that you need to see someone who is very specialized in an area, I mean, it could be long. It could be a lot longer.
Even longer than that.
Yeah.
And that's not the healthcare system that we have to have. We don't have to have that, and they can fix that pretty quickly.
Yeah. So we look forward to this. I mean, there's other things we want to see. We've looked at the federal level expansion of HSAs. The health savings accounts, right? And so there's more out there to do. But this has been one for our state that for the life of me, I do understand the barriers. I'm well aware.
You've learned.
I've learned who and what they are. But past that, it just doesn't make sense for Mississippians not to do this. And at the end of the day, I think in any other part of our economy, where is a permission slip needed for people to come in and say, I want to spend my money, I want to invest, I want to open up something, and I need to go to the government to do that. Maybe a permit to build the building, maybe a license that's required. I mean, sometimes those are even excessive. A lot of them, really, actually. I remember there had to be a license. I think it was in Florida at one point for people who were like auctioneers. The wrestling person who takes the time clock had to have a license. And there was a huge bill that we just put all this stuff in, and reversed it there. Look, a license is a tax and a fee to that individual.
It's government sticking their nose in something that's not their business.
And it seems, it might be different if you are like the hazmat person who comes in and cleans up, and maybe there's some things there. But for a lot of
Safety
things,
concerns.
a lot of licensures that are required, not only here but in other states, it just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Let people and also too expanding the scope of practice for people that
brings
do have-
jobs.
Yeah.
Helps the economy.
Right. I mean, I kind of think about this. If we thought that people say like, hey, I want to come into Mississippi, I want to invest, I want to open up, I want to do this. that brings jobs to our state.
That's right.
And it doesn't cost the taxpayers money when those individuals come in and just open a healthcare facility, and so it's kind of hard to wrap your head around it. It just doesn't make any sense. But we're going to continue to fight for that, and I'm hoping we'll get there. And I hope Senator Hill brings that bill back at some point.
I would say most Republicans, most conservatives agree on the notion that we need limited government, less government. And then I hear people talk, well, we send all these legislators to Jackson for 3 months and they're just steady making bills, making more laws. This would actually repeal some of the things in place and make it less government.
Lindsey, you might remember back to some of the training, because I know you went through some of our certification programs that we do training with our volunteers and activists. And we said the 6 most egregious words in the English language are.
I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
No, there ought to be a law.
Okay. Sorry, my mind just went straight there.
But they're somewhat one and the same. But there ought to be a law. We don't have to legislate or make laws for everything, right? And sometimes I think it's like, let's go. We don't have to study things for 10 years to take action on them. There's a lot of things that are just common sense things that we just need to
people have lost that.
Remove the barrier and get it out of the way. And so that's where we hope that the legislature will land on a lot of things that they'll start to do. So we're happy. We're excited to have conversations with people. We just, we really want the opportunity to sit down. There are some great policy champions in our current legislature. And some of them have really stepped up, and they've been in small groups at times, and they've led and they've put a forward foot out there.
They're willing to have conversations.
They're willing to have
conversations.
To talk to you. Yeah. And so we appreciate that. Always appreciate the Speaker of the House and his willingness to sit down and talk to us about him.
Yeah. God bless that man.
His agenda, our agenda, see where we can work together. And I really appreciate that approach from leadership. And so, but the individual people that are out there, we appreciate those people. We do in our legislature who are stepping out in faith and saying, like, this is wrong or this needs to be changed. And the reason is because it is preventing something that's good for the people of Mississippi. Because, when I'm under that dome, it's like some, other lobbyists we see, and of course legally have to register to be one. But a lot of them will say like, well, if they don't not familiar with this as much, I'll be like, well, now who do you lobby for? And I just say the people of Mississippi, because that's who we're here for. We're here for the people of Mississippi, the taxpayer. We're here to make your lives better.
Absolutely. We got to take our last break, but I want to give you a chance to talk when we get back, just real quick to tell people where to find you, how to get involved, because I think that's where we should leave it at. And I want everyone to know that because, again, you got to use your voice and you got to get involved if you want to make a difference. Y'all stay with us. We will be right back here, 103.9 WYAB. Back here, 103.9 WYAB.
103.9 WYAB.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Hot weather requires us to run the AC nonstop. Pure Air Consultants can inspect your unit today to ensure your AC is operating at peak performance. Pure Air Consultants is your go-to Rheem partner that can get the job done and have you resting in comfort in no time. Locally owned and operated, they have proudly served our community for over 22 years. Contact Pure Air Consultants today at mypureairconsultants.com. Rheem and Pure Air Consultants to the rescue.
Hey, Rankin County, swing by the locally owned and award-winning 042 Wine and Spirits on Highway 80 next to Sonny's Barbecue in Brandon today. We've got one of the largest selections around with over 200 bourbons and whiskeys to ignite your taste buds, more than 50 vodkas, 50-plus tequilas, 30-plus rums, and ready-to-drink cocktails, as well as premium scotches. And get this, we've got over 400 wines in stock for the perfect pairing anytime. Discover your new favorites today at 042 Wine and Spirits right next to Sonny's Barbecue, Highway 80, Cross Gates, Brandon.
Metal Builder Supply in Pearl provides quality commercial and residential metal roofing, pre-engineered steel buildings, mini storage facilities, pole barns, and steel components with old-time service and competitive prices. Through our commitment, experience, and expertise, Metal Builder Supply has established a business relationship with our customers that will last a lifetime. When you need metal roofing, reflective insulation, trim, or metal decking, contact Metal Builder Supply online at metalbuildersupplypearl.com.
Health has always been reactive, focused on fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach, working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
Hi, this is Rita Jensen with Rematch Connection, and I want to tell you, I've lived in Florida for over 50 years. I'm a graduate of Tri-County Academy, went there the first day the doors opened. If you're thinking about putting your children into Tri-County Academy and need a place to live, then give me a call. Without a doubt, the Florida expert when it comes to real estate. So if you need a place to live, give me a call. Rita Jensen, Rematch Connection. 601-720-4037 or go to my website, ritajensen.net.
Want insider tips on foundation repair, maintenance, and how to protect your biggest investment? Todd Sandridge, owner of Superior Foundation Services, will be dropping in this month for quick interviews with your favorite local hosts. Whether you're dealing with cracks, settling, or just want peace of mind, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. Superior Foundation Services, helping you stay on solid ground. Find them online at superior.ms. That's superior.ms.
Welcome back into the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. We only have about a minute left, but Starla, I'm going to let you tell people one more time where this event is that's coming up and what time and how they can get involved.
Okay, June 6th, campus of Mississippi College, Nelson Hall. Inside there is the SWOR Auditorium. Doors open at 5 p.m. It's a Saturday. The event will start promptly at 6 till 7:30. Come out, bring the family, join us. We're going to celebrate 250 years of freedom. You can find the registration link on our Facebook page. It's Americans for Prosperity Mississippi. There's a graphic there talks about it. There's also a QR code. So you go there to register. Must have a ticket to attend. So we'll be posting that. We'll be advertising it here too soon. So we want everybody to come out and we're on X at AFP_MS. And so you can follow us there on our social platform. We're also on AFP Mississippi on Instagram. So our website is ms.americansforprosperity.org. You can find a lot of our stuff in our 601 blueprint there with our policy initiative. So
it'll tell you all about all the events coming up and how to get involved, how to get into some of these grassroots trainings and how to be active. And thank you so much, Starla. Thank you for being here and for bringing your boss with you. I feel so important today. We got the big one in the room. So thank y'all both so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And we will continue to promote this event. Everybody come on out and celebrate freedom on June 6th. I'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. See you then. Bye.